Let's dive into the high-stakes world of casinos, where the biggest gambles aren't always happening at the poker table. We're going to pull back the curtain and see how these palaces of chance can become playgrounds for some really serious financial crime.
Let's just start with a number that'll make your jaw drop. $75 million. That was the fine that got slapped on a single casino, the Tinian Dynasty Hotel and Casino, just for not following the rules.
And we're not just talking about smaller, unknown places. Even a legend like Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas got hit with a huge penalty, $9.5 million.
And hey, it's not just the giant resorts. Even smaller, local spots like Artichoke Joe's Casino got dinged for $8 million.
So what's the deal here? What connects all these massive fines? Well, the answer is a crime you've definitely heard of, but you might not know how it actually works. Money laundering.
So, why a casino? What is it that makes it the perfect place to wash dirty money? It's really not about the glamour and the flashing lights. The very way a casino is built is exactly what criminals are looking for.
Think about it. If you're a criminal with a pile of illegal cash, a casino is like a dream come true. You've got this massive, constant flow of money. It's totally normal to see people with huge sums of cash. Plus, they offer services like casino credit and wire transfers. They basically act like a private bank, no questions asked.
So money laundering, in a nutshell, is just the process of making dirty money look clean. The whole point is to hide where the money originally came from, to break that link to the crime. And casinos? They're perfect for the first two critical stages: placement, which is just getting your dirty cash into the financial system, and layering, which is creating a confusing web of transactions to hide its origin.
All right, so how do they actually pull it off? Let's crack open the launderer's playbook and see the exact techniques they use right there on the casino floor.
One of the most common tricks is a simple but really effective method called structuring. You see, in the US, any cash transaction over $10,000 gets automatically reported to the government. So structuring is basically the art of flying just under that radar.
And this shows you exactly how it works. A criminal has a big bag of cash. They might send in a couple of friends. Each one buys, say, $9,000 worth of chips. Both of those transactions are under the reporting limit, so no alarms go off. Then they just meet up, combine all their chips, and cash out for a single, perfectly legitimate-looking casino check.
Now, what's really wild is that for a lot of these criminals, the goal isn't even to gamble. As this code shows, one of the biggest red flags for investigators is when someone buys a ton of chips, barely plays, and then cashes right back out. They're not trying to win. They're just using the casino as a processing facility.
You can think of it like the criminal is using the casino as their own personal currency exchange. They might do something called bill stuffing, where they feed hundreds of small, dirty bills into a slot machine, play for a minute, and then get a clean payout voucher. Or they could pay off a casino credit line with that dirty cash, only to immediately withdraw it as a nice, clean check.
Now, some launderers do hit the tables, but they play in a way that guarantees they get almost all of their money back, but now it's labeled as winnings. For example, they'll bet on both red and black in roulette. Sure, they might lose a little bit to the house, but they successfully churned the vast majority of their cash through the casino system. It now looks totally legit.
And when the operation needs to go global, that's when criminals bring in intermediaries called junket operators. Think of them as specialized travel agents for super wealthy gamblers, handling everything from flights and hotels to lines of credit, often across international borders.
Junkets add all these extra layers of complexity that make it incredibly difficult for a casino to know whose money they're really dealing with. An operator might pool money from dozens of clients together, move funds across borders, and sometimes even use shady, unlicensed subagents with ties to organized crime. It completely muddies the water.
Of course, the playbook is always evolving, and now a lot of the action is moving from the physical casino floor to the internet. The basic ideas are the same, but the tools are getting a digital upgrade.
And yeah, the digital world presents a whole new set of challenges. Instead of briefcases full of cash, launderers are using stolen credit cards, anonymous wire transfers, and cryptocurrency. The anonymity of the internet lets them hide behind fake profiles and use unregulated websites that are often based offshore, making it even tougher to follow the money. So, with all these schemes going on, how are regulators and the casinos themselves actually fighting back? Well, the pressure to clean up the industry has become intense, and the consequences for failing to do so are pretty severe.
The main weapon in this fight is enforcement. In the US, the big agency here is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. You'll hear it called FinCEN. And as this timeline shows, they started levying these absolutely massive fines.
sending a really clear message to the entire industry that the game had changed.
And we're not talking about small mistakes here. These were for systemic, widespread failures. Tinian Dynasty had pretty much no anti-money laundering program at all. Caesars was letting high rollers gamble anonymously in private rooms. Artichoke Joe's knew that loan sharks were operating right on their floor and just looked the other way.
The message from regulators is crystal clear. The era of don't ask, don't tell in the casino business is over. To avoid these kinds of fines, casinos are now legally required to have strong anti-money laundering, or AML, programs.
And this means they can't just turn a blind eye anymore just because a high roller brings in a lot of business. They have to verify people's identities, do their homework on their customers, and make a real effort to figure out where a player's money is coming from. And if something looks suspicious, they are legally obligated to file a report with the government.
As this chart makes obvious, the consequences for not doing this are severe. These fines really marked a fundamental shift, forcing the entire industry to finally get serious about its role in fighting financial crime.